Hi and welcome back to the Bucket List with me, Beth Krista Wilson. Next up on the show tonight, last week we headed to the Harrogate Foodie Festival and met up with one chocolatier who says that there's much more to chocolate tasting than you might think. David, lovely to meet you here at the Harrogate Food Festival. What made you want to come along today?
This is a celebration of all good things in food. I'm an absolute foodie through and through. I've been a chef since I was 14 years old, and this is just a room full of people with the same passion and interesting foods from all over the world as well as all over the county.
So as you said, you are a chef, but your speciality is chocolate.
I've been in specifically chocolate for about 14 years, but I tend to experiment on the savoury side of chocolate as well. So some of the dishes I've cooked today have been venison with a chocolate sauce, crab with white chocolate risotto and things like that, just to show people that chocolate's more than just a sweet bar.
Well, I know you're very passionate about it, and you don't just want people to eat it and enjoy it for eating it, do you?
Well, I want them to enjoy eating it, but I want them to slow down, and I think the trendy phrase is mindfully. So I want a sensory analysis. So when I teach people to eat chocolate, I'll say we need to look at it, touch it, listen to it, smell it, and then taste it. And people always sort of raise an eyebrow when you say listen to it. But we do that with lots of other foods. If I gave someone a bottle of wine, they'd look at the bottle, see if there was a sediment in there, and then they may not drink it. They'd take the cork out to see if it was corked. They'd pour it in a glass and hold it up to the light and look at the pallor. They'd sniff it probably. Then they'd have a tiny sip, and then if it was nice, they would drink it. And that's what I'm saying we should do with, if you've paid £7, £8, £9, even £10 for a bar of really good chocolate, and some of the good stuff will cost at least that, then you want to make sure you know why you like it and that you savour and enjoy it.
Well, you said there that one of the bizarre kind of things that the reaction is to is to the sound of chocolate. What are we looking for? If you snap a bar of chocolate, what should it sound like?
Well, let's go through that little process, because I've got some chocolate here. I'm assuming you might like chocolate.
Yes, I love chocolate. I love it. I'm a chocoholic.
Well, let me give you that. The first thing, so I guess the key is to say we're going to talk through this, so I'm going to guide you through the process. So the first thing you do is you'd look at the packaging, you'd work out where it came from, the percentage would probably be on there, the country of origin, so and it's from West Africa, so this is Ghanaian cocoa that we're going to trace. If we now open it, if I open, you can see this because you're going to struggle with not having a third hand. Yeah. So when we open the chocolate, what you should see in there is smooth, shiny, dark chocolate. Sometimes when we open a chocolate bar, you can actually see grey streaks or white marks across the top.
From previous interviews, I've kind of learned, is that to do with tempering, is that right?
Well, it can be. It's called a bloom, and there's two different types of bloom. Right. One of them is a fat bloom, and the other is a sugar bloom. So if you left this on a windowsill or near a radiator, it would start to melt, and as the chocolate recedes, the sugar crystals in there that melt at a much higher temperature poke out of the top. Okay. And then often if you've got a melted bar of chocolate, we take it and put it in the fridge to set. And the sugar in there, sugar loves moisture, so it attracts all the moisture in your fridge, which will be smelling of chicken, garlic, last night's curry or whatever's in there, and it'll form around the sugar crystals, and there'll be little.
Not really what you want.
No. And then the next thing we would do is we'd run our finger across the bar, and that should feel smooth and dry, so there's no cocoa butter, you don't feel the sugar crystals.
No moisture there.
No moisture at all. And then if you just cuddle the corner a little bit, it should start to melt almost immediately, because chocolate starts to melt at 25 degrees, but is liquid at body temperature. So we're 36.2 degrees-ish, and that's what you try.
As soon as we put our hands on it, it should, that process should be...
With a little bit of effort. If it melts immediately, that means it's not tempered properly. So that's a bad sign, but if you can...
So it's getting the balance right between them.
Yeah, you have to work to make it melt. Otherwise, you'd never be able to pick chocolate up, because it would constantly be melting, and there'd be fingerprints on things. So that's that. The next thing we would do is listen to it. So normally I'd say lift this to your ear, but we'll put it near the microphone for that. But if you put it there, the snap tells you that those crystals we talked about have been bound together, and you've had to break that bond. The higher the cocoa content, the louder that snap, the more pronounced, because there's more cocoa solids. So milk chocolate will be quieter, white chocolate even quieter still. Then we'd smell it. So we'd put it into your cupped hand, and the first thing you'd get would be chocolate, I hope.
Yeah.
But there's 1,500 volatile aromas in chocolate. And so it's really complex. It's just more complex than wine, more complex than coffee. So once you've done that and smelt it, I'll break you up. You put a piece onto your tongue and close your mouth, and then you pinch your nose just for a second, and the first thing that's isolated your olfactory system, you'll just get sugar, and then you open your mouth a little and suck some air across the top of the chocolate. Wine and coffee enthusiasts call this cooking, and you're spreading all those aromas, and there's things, you should find things in there like red berries, maybe a little earthy, probably tobacco, caramel, coffee, licorice. All those things would be in there, an oaky taste, because they're characteristic of Ghanaian cocoa, and each chocolate from different regions will have slightly different characteristics, and that's how to taste chocolate mindfully.
Finally tonight, last week the atrium at Trinity Shopping Centre was taken over by Opera North for their very own carol concert.